makes up the formula to be a successful Vivien Yap?
Okay, there's a combination of a few things. There's not one thing that I believe has worked for me solely, but I think there's 5 or 6 things in my life that's actually, positioned me to where I am today. So it comes down to, I think, mindset.
Yep.
You have to have a really positive mindset. You have to be very persistent, very determined to do what you're doing today. And I'm sure you are all here today because you all want to learn and you have a very positive mindset that you want to get to where you are today, to a different destination. So we all have that journey to work from, and I think you will then work out what it is that works for you. And I think number 2 is all about your organised day or your structure. And I think for me, I am not the most organised person here, and I think Phoebe and Moses knows that. They know exactly how I roll. I have a crazy day. It's almost like crazy chaos, yet it's under control. So ideal days, ideal tasks might work for some people, but it doesn't work for me. I just know that I've got a bunch of jobs that I must finish. I must do them by close of business or by midday. They all need to be done. If it is not going to be done, I know that I have to do it within the next hour or 2. So ultimately, it comes down to what sort of a person are you? Do you believe that you can actually commit to those goals that you have set yourself? And I think bite-sized goals are a lot easier than those big, size goals which you can't achieve.
Sure.
Number 3, I think accessibility. You need to be accessible to your clients, to your support staff, to your team members who could be, the reps that you have employed. If you give them the promise that you're going to help them get to the next level, then you have to do it. You have to actually, I suppose, deliver. You can't just promise them the world at the interview and then not be able to deliver. And it comes down to leads. It comes down to supporting them, mentally. That they've just lost a listing. How are you going to get past that? How are you going to help them get that next lead? If you have another lead, because that's going to help them get better, give that listing to them or share it with them so they can see exactly how you actually work. And they can actually see me working with that client because they can't close the deal, they can't actually get the transaction across, and that's when I step in. And
Sure.
I think another thing that I find that's really important is all about, setting different benchmarks for yourself. And, I am competitive, I do want to do well. But
You and I were speaking out the back before, and one of the drivers that you have is the fear of failure, but in a positive way, not in well, maybe it eats you a little bit, but you've learned how to be able to overcome that.
I think it's always difficult to lose a listing or, not be able to close one particular transaction because you've worked on it for, let's say, 3 months or, 4 months, and then you suddenly lose that listing to someone else because they have a better method of sale. But then, I don't blame it, on anything but myself.
Sure.
And because maybe I was not as good as closing, I didn't have the crucial conversation because I just didn't want to. And that's where I think if you have that fear of failure, it all comes down to where do we go next? What is next? So I always say, move on, let's move on to the next one. But if you are too comfortable where you are, then you will never grow because you might think you're number 1 today. You could be number 2, number 3, or you could be at the bottom of the ranks again very quickly. Because I do believe that I know that, it's good to stay right at the top, but the next way is to go down because there'll always be other people better than you. They work harder than you, but the main thing is I think you need to outwork your peers. You need to outdo yourself. Whatever you think you're already doing really well, ask the people around you to actually criticise you. And I always take criticism quite positively because I will always ask Moses, I'll ask Phoebe, I'll say, what have I done wrong?
Are you guys ever scared giving her that feedback?
No, because they know I don't bite, I will actually look at what I've done badly and I will then move to the next step and think, okay, I have not done this well enough and I think it's time to improve. And improvement is really crucial, I think, and I know that I still need to improve, which is why I'm here today. I'm still learning from everybody here today, and
Sure.
anything they have to say, I love to listen.